because the reason why I started doing my events, because I got turned away from a nightclub because I was black.
Ah, okay.
You see?
Okay, yeah.
That's why I was living the high life. Like I was enjoying myself in the UK, I was traveling around the world.
Sure.
Because I hosted my event Ballin. I started it in London and then it became really successful. The brand is called Ballin Parties.
Okay.
I grew up in the UK, but I was heavily influenced by Americans. Diddy, Nas, I used to have all their albums, DMX. Obviously, everyone knows the word balling.
Right.
So balling is like living in affluence and wealth. That's what it means.
Yep. The spray party is like the kind of a pool party at the Radisson Blue, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you have others now too, right?
Yeah, the Africano event. And then also, as people have got older, I've added a third event, which is over 30s. This is like not a Met Gala, but everyone's kind of tuxedoed for a mature crowd. Because you know, people like to enjoy themselves. It doesn't matter what age. I started a brand called FOA. It stands for the House of Africa. It's all electronic music. It's a completely different vibe from balling. It's more like a hedonistic. Balling's urban upscale.
Boom! What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in West Africa. And if you want to know why somebody would leave the UK to start throwing the biggest parties in Sierra Leone, then this is the video for you. Okay, cool. So today we're meeting up with Siaka Stevens. Now, he is the grandson of the former president of Sierra Leone, Siaka Stevens. He is also a person in his own right who has actually built a business around the Ballin Parties. So if you guys have been to Sierra Leone in December, then you know about the Ballin Parties. And you guys are gonna get all kinds of clips in this video, don't worry. You'll get a chance to see what it looks like. But he does not only a Ballin Party, he also has House of Africa and a few other parties that he's been throwing to really diversify what he's been doing. And then beyond that, he has a whole nother project he's working on with Idris Elba. So you guys are gonna get a chance to see and hear a little bit more about that. And so without further ado, let's just get right into the interview.
All right, what's up guys? I'm back in Sierra Leone and I'm here with the one and only Siaka Stevens.
Hey.
First of all, thanks for doing this, I appreciate it.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
I'm really looking forward to sharing his story with you guys and giving you guys a chance to get a little bit of what we just talked about today. But first, before we get into it, I want to talk about how I came across you. So I was the Power Women 232 Summit. Siaka was on one of the panels. You were on one of the panels.
Yeah, I think it was the creative, monetizing your talents or business, I don't know, creative industry.
Yeah, something about monetizing your creative talent.
Yeah, yeah.
I was one of the MCs for the event. I heard him talk, and I remember having gone to a couple of the Ballin Parties. And I know that's not all you do, but I had gone to a couple of the Ballin Parties. And Sylvia, a friend of mine who works for Power Women 232, who works with Power Women 232, she made the connection, and I definitely wanted to talk to you about everything you're doing because it's so much more than just those parties. These stories I think are important to get out there, so I wanted to make sure I told those stories to you all. So with that, I would love to start with your background. Where were you born and raised?
So I was born in Freetown. I lived there since I was 5 years old. My mum and dad separated. My mum is from Sierra Leone, but my grandfather studied at Durham University in Newcastle.
Okay.
So my mum's actually born in Newcastle in 1959. After my mum and dad separated, my mum took me to the UK. So I lived in East London, so I spent very little time in Sierra Leone. But all I know was that my grandfather was Siaka Stevens, the former president of Sierra Leone, and obviously I'm very close to my dad as well. But I spent a lot of time with my mother's side of the family growing up in the UK.
Okay.
Even though I had family relatives in England, but I'm more grew up on my mother's side. So my background is entertainment and holding events.
Okay.
So where I grew up in East London, I think most users of America aren't.
Yeah.
So it's like a working class area. It's not a ghetto, but it's like a working class area.
Sure.
So a lot of my friends, we used to play soccer, football.
Okay.
So a few of my friends became professional athletes and they end up playing like in the English Premier League
Okay.
and the lower leagues. So I started to host events for them and I started to DJ. And that's how I really got into my events. It's like throwing parties because obviously, you know, these new money millionaires start going to all these fancy restaurants and these VIP clubs.
Yeah.
So then I went to university for a little bit to study in Manchester economics, and then I left university because I started DJing and organising events.
Right.
So for me, that's how I kind of got into it. And what came about Sierra Leone is really interesting. December was the busiest time for me in the UK hosting my events, as for most event organisers. So my cousins would come to Sierra Leone in December and say, Siaka, you need to come. I'm like, man, it's the business time for me, income-wise.
Right.
I'm gonna lose out. So I never kind of made that journey once. And I was living the high life. Like I was enjoying myself in the UK. I was traveling around the world.
Sure.
Because I hosted my event Ballin. I started it in London and then it became really successful. The brand is called Ballin Parties.
Okay.
I grew up in the UK, but I was heavily influenced by Americans. Diddy, Nas, I used to have all their albums, DMX. Obviously, everyone knows the word balling.
Right.
So balling is like living in affluence and wealth. That's what it means.
Yep.
It's an aspirational brand.
Right.
So as we were younger, in working class areas, poor areas, it's always our aspiration to become successful.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
A lot of people that I know did it the wrong way, involved in criminal activities.
Absolutely.
But for me, I always knew that I had enough ability to do things greatly.
Right.
So I actually lived that kind of life, but I was making money legitimately hosting really big events. So Ballin Parties started in London. I used to host loads of VIP clubs in London, but then the brand grew really strong. So what I did was so every major city that I went to, I split into Ballin London, Ballin Manchester, I did most of the big cities in the UK, and I travelled to Dubai, I did Ballin Dubai, Ibiza,
Okay.
I did Ballin in Cannes, south of France, I did Ballin in like a place called Marbella, which is like the VIP area of Spain.
Okay.
Because the reason why I started doing my events, so I got turned away from a nightclub because I was black.
Ah, okay.
You see?
Okay, yeah.
That's why, because I went to a VIP club, and before, you understand, this is like 2005, like for me, in the UK, urban music wasn't pop music then.
Right.
So it was just coming through, you know. So back then, they were like, "Oh no, you can't come in. You're like the VIP clubs. Not you know, black people attend these events." And like, "Oh,
Right.
sorry." Walked up to the door, and the doorman said, "Are you on the guest list?" And we were like, "Yeah." So put me down. He was like, "No, you're not. Open the road." And it happened to me twice in 1 week.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, "I'm never going to let that happen again in my life." All these nightclubs I'm going to walk into, and they're going to know my name, they'll know the manager, the owner, or the head security, and they're going to let me in. I'm going to hold events at all these clubs, because you have these young successful athletes coming through.
Right.
You don't want to play the music that they want. They want hip hop. They're following these hip hop artists, but you don't want to give them that music.
Right.
You let them in, let them buy you bottles, but you don't want to. But when I'm DJing and playing some hip hop, you're like, "Oh no, we don't want this type of music in our establishments."
Right.
It's two-faced.
Yeah.
So Ballin started was when the trap era
Okay.
was coming through.
Okay.
Rick Ross, them hard trap music.
Yeah.
And all these athletes were now Chris Dowles, Ace of Spades.
Right.
It was creeping through London. All the footballers and athletes, this is what they looked up to.
Right.
But when we would go to these clubs, they wouldn't provide the music that we wanted. So I wanted to do a hip hop night, literally trap music all night.
Okay.
Where they would come, especially for that. It was always on an off day, like on a Sunday,
Okay.
like during the week where these clubs would open.
Right.
And it was catered for that type of crowd.
Yeah.
And that's why it started. That's why Ballin, that's how it came.
Wow.
That's how it came. So
What year was that?
the first Ballin, so I've been hosting events and doing events, working with other promoters in London. But I think the first Ballin was 2008 or 2009.
Wow, so it's been quite a long time.
Yeah, my friend was a famous soccer player. His name was Jermaine Defoe. He played for England and he played for like the Premiership team. So I hosted his birthday event at a club, and then it kind of took off from there. Yeah, so that was my network.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you about the different businesses that you have. So you obviously started the Ballin event. Was that your main source of income to that point, right?
It was. I've always been, like I said to you, I didn't plan. I only got into entertainment because I got turned away from a club because of that. It wasn't my what I planned to do. At university, I was a bit depressed. Obviously, there's a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you heard that. So
Kiyosaki, Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah. I love my mum. I love you to bits, mum. My mum was my poor dad.
Sure.
And my cousin was my mentor, was my rich dad.
Okay.
So whereas my mum was like, "Oh, I want to go to school, go to university, get a good job, this, that." My cousin was like, "You can do anything you put your mind to it."
Yeah.
So I was kind of forced into doing economics and stuff. And what I realized, I'm more of a creative person. When I was in my lecture one day, I saw an equation, and it was it went across the room on a board. I said, "That." I never came back again.
Yeah, I get it.
I never came back again.
Yeah.
And I was a bit depressed because you're looking for. I remember I used to sit in my room in the dark and just watch like films all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't quite find your purpose or what you're here for. You're searching. You go through that stage. Everyone goes through that stage different times in their life.
Yeah.
I came back to London. I was kind of just doing bits and bobs. Listen, I've done odd jobs. I've worked in the equivalent of Costa, I've worked on the building site, driven delivery work. I've done all sorts of bits and bobs.
Okay.
I literally I used to sell my CDs. This is the funny story.
Okay.
I used to DJ, so what I'd do is I used to have a CD, because a lot of my events I used to give away promotional CDs
Okay.
with my flyers in.
Right.
Because I realised that in the beginning, when you give out flyers, people just throw them away.
Yeah.
When you give people a CD, they'll keep the CD.
Right.
So I used to put CDs on all my flyers for my events and all my CDs, and I'd give them away. And then when I was short of money, I'd do a mix CD, print out 100. I literally stand on Oxford Street outside Topshop. Topshop was a flagship store.
Yeah.
And I would like sell them.
Yeah.
I make like, if I could make like 100, 200 pounds. I was young then.
Right,
That would
yeah.
last me, so I'll do that and go home. So I've done all sorts of things to just keep my. One thing I value is my free time.
Yes.
I value that. That's the only thing. And maybe if I grew up in a world that we are today, where there's a lot more in terms of working remotely,
Right.
I might have got a job knowing that I have a flexibility.
Yeah. More
Because
options,
I've got no one that's in the office looking at me, so I'll be able to finish quickly and then do my other stuff.
Right.
So in this day and age, I might have had a job and work, but in that, I was not doing it.
Right.
I would say, listen, I'm gonna find something. And the harder you work, the luckier you get. How I made my break into doing events in central London was I was handing out flyers outside these VIP clubs because
Okay.
I couldn't get in, first of all.
Right.
So I used to stand outside with all the celebrities giving out leaflets. People used to
Right.
look at me like I was a beggar, but I didn't care. I was standing.
Yeah.
And then a big promoter in London, he picked up my flyer and the next day gave me a call and said I wanted to work with me.
Okay.
So I started off as a sub promoter, you work underneath, and that's how I kind of, but if I wasn't there at that time, I wouldn't have the opportunity.
Right.
Sometimes luck is about working hard and you meet someone and you don't even know who you meet along your line, who you meet in along your journey. And that's how that came.
You left when you were 5, you said,
Yeah,
right?
5, yeah.
Okay, so you were in the UK most of your life. What brought you back to Sierra Leone?
I kind of fell out of love with doing my events in London because I realised traveling to Sierra Leone, it kind of hits you where there's, and I read a statistic, it said, it might have changed now, but it said 90% or 80% of the world live under $10 a day. That is reality.
Yeah.
The life that I lived, I was going to all these VIP restaurants, like, went to Las Vegas, went to Dubai, I was traveling the world, literally doing my events and had networks in those industries.
Right.
That is not real. That is not real.
Right.
And 0.0001% of the actual world population live that life.
Right.
So you step back from it thinking, you know what? Because you get consumed by it. Because for me, going out and spending $300 at a restaurant is normal.
Right.
Was normal. Going out and spending $1,000 or $2,000 on the table became like normality.
Right.
It's not. It's not at all.
Right.
So it kind of hit me. I take a step back and really reevaluate my life and my purpose.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm grateful for what I've been through, my experiences. So how can you use that now to impact people, make a big change? So one of my clients noticed that I was traveling back and forth to Sierra Leone, and he is in the beverage industry. So he said to me, Siaka, there's an opportunity, you want to start a brand of duty-free shops in Africa, Dubai, all over the world. I noticed you're getting back to Sierra Leone. Is it possible for you to see if you can get a duty-free shop at the airport? After 2-3 years, we pulled it off. The shop's open now. It was closed through COVID, but it's open now in arrivals when you land. Then, obviously, that was my main priority. It wasn't doing events. I kind of like stopped going out in London and started spending more time in Sierra Leone.
Right.
So I kind of lost interest in throwing my events in the UK. When I got to Sierra Leone, I realised I was bored. I can throw better parties myself.
Right.
So I started Ballin Freetown, still the Ballin brand, but
Right.
Ballin Freetown
Right.
in 2016.
Okay.
And now, as you know, it kicked off. It's big,
It's huge.
It's huge here.
Yeah, and then there are multiple Ballins, right?
Yeah,
So I went to the first, well, not to my first event that I went to of a Ballin event was the spray party.
Yeah.
But there are other. So the spray party is like the kind of the pool party at the
Pool party.
Radisson Blue, right?
Yeah.
But you have others now too, right?
Yeah. So naturally, the first event was the spray party.
Right.
So what I do is anytime I go to somewhere, a new market, I look at something that's not existing at the moment. What's there, not now, because it's easier to make an impact with something that's different than something that's already. So for me, it was the spray party.
Okay.
So it's kind of like in Europe, you have a daytime vibe beach party.
Yeah.
So that was the original, and then you just like spray it. There's a time when like 12 o'clock and everyone would just. So it was just that event started off. And that really
The first one just made it through, broke even. It wasn't busy, but it was busy enough to have a vibe. The footage. To get people to understand what we're trying to do.
Right.
You're taking a concept that people are not familiar with.
Yeah.
Going out in the day. People, we closed about midnight.
Okay.
People were turning up at midnight.
Right.
They didn't understand.
Yeah.
The first party was a success, and we had enough footage to then showcase the idea of the event so people understood.
Right.
And it's growing from strength to strength. But then, what's happened is the spray party, pool party, is more basically younger generation, the more aspirational crowd.
Right.
And I noticed that some of the people that are coming before, it's been going on for 5 years, they're older now.
Right.
And in Sierra Leone, we have this thing about our status, and ladies can't be seen in bikini or at certain events.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I want to create another themed event. So first of all, we used to do the black and gold parties.
Yeah.
Then it changed to the gold and black. And then it was white and gold. But then last year, I wanted to stick with the theme. I started with the Africana, Ankara print.
Yeah.
So that's the event. We showcase what you're wearing. It's like a bit more mature crowd, different ages, but it's a bit more mature because the pool party is like beach wear.
Right.
It's very casual. It's very like hard. It's like a carnival sort of vibe.
Yeah. It's,
You know.
yes.
know.
Yeah.
So then I created this Africana event, and then also as people have got older, I've added a third event, which is over 30s. This is like not a Met Gala, but everyone's kind of tuxedoed for a mature crowd. Because people like to enjoy themselves. It doesn't matter what age.
My group of friends, we're all late 30s,
Yeah,
40s.
me.
So the over 30 crowd is the over 30 event, and the Africana event were the ones that we're more
inclined.
looking for
Yeah,
the
exactly.
to go to.
Because you have to understand, for me it's great because I go to the pool party now and no one really knows me.
Yeah.
And for me, as a business person, entrepreneur, it's perfect because that shows your brand now. It's transcended from your normal crowd.
Right.
You get the crowd that you don't know now.
Right.
Because like I say to people, it's easy to promote a party and invite your friends.
Right.
But the hardest part is promoting things that you don't know the people that are there. They're coming because they're associated with your brand.
Yeah.
And I always hide behind what I do because the brand is people have to come for the brand.
Yeah.
And what phone do you have?
I have a Samsung and I have an iPhone.
Okay. So for example, I have an iPhone. I didn't know Steve Jobs personally.
Yeah.
But with an iPhone, why? Because it's slick, it's
Yeah.
classy.
And most people don't know Steve Jobs
Exactly.
was the guy who founded Apple.
Exactly. No, but they're attracted to the brand.
Exactly.
So I always put my brands, anything I do, I will not be the face of what I do.
Yeah.
The brand has to be the face.
Yeah.
Because if anything happens to me, the brand has to continue.
Absolutely. and it shows. I mean, you're saying if you're going to the events and people aren't recognizing you or even knowing you. And I will tell you, all manner of people are going to the Ballin events.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to Basha to buy tickets for something else. The people at Basha were like tired because they were at Ballin the night before. Everybody's WhatsApp status had Ballin on it. Everybody I know, people that I've met through all walks of life here.
And it's funny you saying that because people say to me, Siaka, so why do you do your events as well?
Yeah.
Obviously I told you because I got turned from my club. But as a DJ, I analyze things and say, listen, life is difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
So what we had was a stage where everyone looks forward to the weekend, looks forward to going out.
Yeah.
So what is it? It's a form of escapism.
Yeah.
So it's my job and my duty in that business to create an experience that will live in people's minds for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
When you catch up with your friends, what do you talk about most? The nights that you went out and had a good time. Exactly.
Yeah.
When I meet my friends, it's the same thing.
Right.
So I make sure that it's my duty to provide the best time of your life. That's why I would hate when I go to a place and you wasted your time. It's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
So that's why I'm very specific in terms of the music and even when I DJ to make sure like place the best of your ability to make sure people enjoy themselves and they'll talk about this event, talk about your set, talk about how much of a good time they had for a long time and they'll never forget it. Those are the memories we don't forget. I know all the times that I go out with my friends, I have a good time.
Oh yeah, we've had many of those nights. The party starters. My crew here is called the Party Starters.
Exactly,
and
you see?
We all got together the first time we all hung out. It started with Ballin. As a matter of fact, going to Ghana, we were at Ballin.
Okay.
And we were all talking about next year, when we come back to Ballin, but we also want to go to Ghana next year. And it was at Ballin we had that discussion. So
Exactly.
it's kind of crazy. Like, and we all talk about that. It's like, remember that Ballin from, it was 2018.
Yeah.
The Ballin 2018 when we had that conversation.
And also it's a huge part of our culture.
Yeah.
So last year my mum and dad were both here, even though they're separated. My mum and dad went out different things more than I did.
Right.
It's a huge part of our culture as black people.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of our culture.
Yeah.
And we have to understand that. Whereas, for example, in London, we make sure the older white people might go to a cigar lounge or go to this private members club, and they sit down, they drink whiskey. But we like to enjoy ourselves.
We dance. We're a dancing culture.
Exactly.
We out. We got to get down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing as well. So
Yeah.
it's very important. So I don't shy away, because sometimes in London, people will be like, oh, you're just an events organizer or just a promoter, like that. They put value in, like you're not a proper business person because you organize events.
Right.
But in Sierra Leone, there's lawyers that organize, a lawyer, Kabaka, he organizes Echo Fest.
Right.
So our culture here is part and parcel,
Right.
you know, business, you know.
And so on that note, I mean, we talked about the 3 different Ballin Parties, and I want to get into some of the other kind of things focused on Ballin and then outside of Ballin. So outside of the 3 parties, you have other like product lines and things that you do that are associated with Ballin.
Yeah, so what I did was, there's a huge trend, vaping trend in the UK.
Yeah.
So because for example, Richard Branson, when he started Virgin was a record label.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Records, he doesn't sell records anymore.
It's not.
People trust the Virgin brand.
Yeah.
So this wasn't planned, but Ballin is a name that people know.
Sure.
So, and it's always a test of my brand. When I first came to Sierra Leone, people were saying Ballin. They didn't understand.
Yeah.
Or they were saying that party at Radisson Blue.
Right.
But now everyone says, are you going to Ballin?
Oh.
They don't talk about the venue.
Yeah.
It could be in a shack down the road. They'll say, are you going to Ballin?
Right.
For me, that shows how strong the brand is.
100%.
So when the brand is that strong, I know that I can create other products.
Mm.
Because Ballin is like kind of held in a high esteem.
Right.
Quality. So I created a vaping brand on the side. It's it's zero nicotine.
Mm.
Just instead of selling juices, I put portable vapes as the Ballin brand. You know, so it's just like a little more side thing for me personally. Sometimes I get these ideas and I like to see if I can do it, and it works.
So yeah, and Ballin's a great place to meet different people too.
It is.
All kinds of different
People.
Yeah,
You never know.
Yeah.
Someone just told me a story how they met someone at my event a few days ago.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good for networking as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of the other businesses that you have?
So, events-wise, I started a brand called THOA. It stands for the House of Africa. Good music is good music. I'm a DJ.
Yep.
Okay. So, regardless of genre, I listen to all types of music.
Sure.
So, I do listen to and play a kind of electronic music called tech house.
Okay.
Something that they play in Ibiza and Europe a lot. So, we are in West Africa, and we have the winter sun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means Europe is a prime destination for tourists to come to Africa.
Absolutely.
This particular type of music, electronic music, is famous in Europe. It's very popular.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But right now in Europe, it's freezing cold.
Yep.
So I created this brand because I'm building up an electronic music vibe to eventually one day host a big festival. If it's not Sierra Leone, somewhere like Ghana. It's all electronic music. It's a completely different vibe from Ballin. It's more like a hedonistic. Ballin's urban upscale.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
THOA is house music. Think of Ballin, beach party, and that's been very successful in terms of we have a big expat crowd here,
right?
Lebanese crowd, so we're really familiar with the music.
Yeah.
And also Sierra Leoneans like myself who studied abroad and were forced at university to go to these.
To those parties. Yeah.
So they understand it. So and now the local people are coming on. I join in and enjoying the music because good music is good music. So the party is held at like a Cockle Point. Cockle Point is like a private beach resort.
Yeah.
The scenery is perfect.
Yeah.
The venue has to match the brand.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't do it at Radisson Blue maybe. It wouldn't work. I couldn't do it at Country Lodge.
Yeah, it has to be at
it has to be a beach party vibe. It's that kind of vibe. It was very casual. You know? It's that kind of vibe I like.
So you did one this?
Yeah, 3rd of December. It was.
Yeah, the 3rd of December because I was here.
Yeah.
When it happened, and a few people told me about it. They went out to the event, so I didn't know that was.
Oh yeah.
That was your event. Okay.
And well, now people know, but one thing I'm very cautious about. That's a good reason you didn't know because I want to separate the brands. They're completely different.
Yeah.
So it's under the B2B umbrella, a ball-to-ball group, but they're completely separate brands.
Okay.
I'm very brand focused. Things about the brand and what the kind of people that are focused, who I think my target market is. Don't get me wrong, you might get a little bit of overlap, but it's different. The whole marketing of THOA is different from Ballin.
Right.
So when people are ringing the THOA hotline, and asking my assistant, are there any tables for sale? They're not tables, it's not that vibe.
Right.
It's not that table vibe.
It's not a table vibe. I got it. So the House of Africa Thoa is one event. Ballin is another event, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
I know you do Ballin in different countries too, right? But before we even get into that, is there any other businesses that you're doing? I know we talked about what you're doing in terms of the city. I'd love for you to talk about that a little bit as well.
Okay, so 2015, I started coming back to Sierra Leone every 2 weeks for 2 years. 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out. And my children were very young then.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure that I spent a lot of time in the UK. So every 2 weeks I was in and out of Sierra Leone. I've been self-employed from a young age. So my mind, I don't fear uncertainty. I thrive with it.
Right.
Because I have to understand I haven't been employed since I was like 19 years old.
Right.
So my brain is slightly wired different to most people. So I know my brain's programs look for opportunities.
Right.
So everywhere I go, I look for opportunities. I can see opportunities. So when I was younger, I had to rein it in because you want to do too many things now. So now I really rein in. Even though I see opportunities every day of my life to this day, but I have to really focus on a few key things that are around what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, so I try and keep everything in house. So, for example, I spoke about the Ballin vapes. The vapes are an extension of the Ballin brand.
Right.
It's part of the Ballin brand.
Sure.
It still gives me visibility because it still says Ballin on it.
Right.
You know, so it's an extension.
Are you planning to expand in new markets for the Ballin Parties?
Yes, I am. 2019, I actually took Ballin to Accra for the first time.
Yeah.
So it was the year of return. I think you said you were there.
Yeah, I was there for the
So
year
it
of
was
return,
Ballin Accra. We had a very successful event at a club called Carbon. Fortunately, it's not open anymore. The pandemic kind of delayed the trajectory.
Sure.
So, but we're hoping to do something in 2023.
Yeah.
And also Thoa, I want to take Thoa to Accra as well. So, okay, just a bigger market. You know, and Ghana is turning into a tourism industry where it's not just people in the diaspora that are coming back.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a bigger market.
Yeah.
You know, at this current stage.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sierra Leone will continue as normal. I really want to expand into different countries in Africa.
Okay, nice.
I'm trying to work on a model, like a franchise or some kind of model. I'm still racking my head around how it's going to work, but that's what I'm thinking.
Nice. The branding is already there, and you know all the Sierra Leoneans know Ballin, so if you can apply that to other places, I think it'd be great. And you know, I live in Accra, so it'd be great to be going to the Ballin Parties in Ghana. Okay, so you know we talked about your businesses and everything you're doing. There are a lot of questions about like business in general here in Sierra Leone. I mean, you as a serial entrepreneur, having done business in the UK and now starting a business here. What are some of the challenges that you've seen building a business here in Sierra Leone?
There are various challenges. Number one, we're dealing in a completely different jurisdiction, and in terms of the development of just the economy, we're like 20, 30, 40 years behind. There's some adjustments that day-to-day things, even like the internet, you have to adjust to.
Yeah.
So I think for me, you have to understand that I've started off from the bottom.
Yep.
And I built a business and I've lost everything, even born in the UK. I had to start again. I built it back up.
Yeah.
So when I first came to Sierra Leone, mentally, I said to myself, you're going to suffer for minimum 5 years.
Okay.
Your minimum. So in my head, I have to program that I'm not going to have the lifestyle I had, but it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Right.
Yeah. You have to be willing to suffer. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be here on the ground. You cannot, until you build a trusted network of people, you cannot just delegate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot. So you have to be prepared. It's either you're all in or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to come here for a prolonged period of time. Right now, I have a trusted network of people that I work with. I can give my guys that work with me certain amounts of money to drop off, pay suppliers.
Yeah.
And I can trust that they're not going anywhere.
Right.
But what it is as well is, and what I always say to people is, be humble. We are educated in the West, okay?
Right.
Yes, but the people here don't treat them. A lot of people treat them or try and talk to them a certain way that they're better than them.
Right.
Don't do that. I give all my staff utmost respect.
Yeah.
All of them. And I tell things to help them about lateness. They know me about lateness. If I say come at 1 o'clock, you better come at 1 o'clock.
And that's one of the challenges.
No, my staff know me. They don't know. If I say come at 1 o'clock,
they come at 1 o'clock.
or you give me a reason, text me an hour before why you can't come.
Yeah.
So they know me. So I instill those values into them and say, listen, We are professional. I'm a professional person when it comes to my business. I have fun in my life.
Sure.
When it comes to my profession, I don't joke about. And I said the same thing with you guys.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, everywhere you go, people are watching you. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know. I've had staff that people have seen at the Radisson or venues that I've worked in. I've seen them working and going, Siaka, I want to give them a job.
Right.
Because unfortunately, I'm not here. My events are only cyclical. It's certain times of the year.
Right.
So I can't employ them full time. They're more like casual. When I'm here, they help me out. But then says, he's a good worker.
Yeah.
I'm going to employ him. I say to him, you don't know who's watching you. Business people are always looking for people they can trust and hard workers.
Yes.
You know, this laxy-daisy attitude, I work hard. You know, I work harder than them and they see it.
Yeah.
They see. I don't sit there and watch them lift, I lift with them. For the board in the last event, I was up for nearly 24 hours. Solid. And I had 3 hours sleep and got up the next day. And I'm there, you know? So I said to them, listen, you have to work hard, you have to be honest, you have to have integrity and do what you're gonna say. If you can't do it, don't worry. People here are scared not to say, I can't do things. They would rather lie to you and do it incorrectly than say, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Right, agreed.
So I'm making it very clear, it's okay, I'll explain it to you.
Right.
It's not a problem, it's not your fault, even if you can't read. When the guy told me you can't read, that's no problem, it's not your fault.
Right.
It's not your fault. I'm not gonna look down on you because you can't read. That is not your fault.
Right.
You just want to give him we go to school, I didn't pay to go to school.
Yeah.
in the UK. And you know what? Like, sorry to change, to move off the tangent a bit, but especially in the UK, I say this to people, when I started coming to Sierra Leone, I actually realised how valuable being a British citizen is. I got to travel the whole world.
Right.
I didn't have to do a visa. I just turn up my passport and go through.
Yep.
So my experiences that helped me bring knowledge and wisdom to Sierra Leone.
Right.
Because I have a British passport that I can travel the world freely with.
Yep.
My daughter, she had an accident. She twisted her ankle badly. Went to hospital. They gave her a cast. They gave her teddy bears. Did an X-ray. And this is in the UK. And we left. All I had to do was confirm my address and my name.
Shout out to the UK healthcare system.
Can you believe it? All I had to do was confirm my address and my name.
Right.
She got X-ray. They gave her a cast. Looked after her. Gave her a teddy bear, and she walked out with crunchies. I didn't do anything apart from confirm my name.
Wow.
And that really hit home.
Yeah.
Because before, it's taken for granted in the UK.
Yes.
You know, it's obviously you pay your taxes and your contributions, but still it's huge. Because when I see people here die needlessly, it really hits home.
Yeah.
So these are all the kind of struggles I was having with when they were having the Black Lives Matter protests. Because I'm thinking, on one second, yes, we're all culpable. The UK is very culpable. Right. But yes, they've allowed me skills that I've learned there to come and help.
Yeah.
Sierra Leone, same as America. Sure. Because without America, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing here.
100%.
And you, in your future, you're probably going to set up your own business and employ loads of people.
Absolutely.
And they could change.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of, until you actually experience it here, then you kind of be like, okay, it's like a double-edged sword. Right. You know? Right. You know, because, and you really have to explain and understand it right. In one moment, you think, yes, they need to give something back. Yeah. And the one moment I'm thinking, hold on, I've got free education. Yeah. I've got a British passport that I've travelled everywhere in the world. Yeah.
So it gives you broader context.
Broader context. Start to think more into like, instead of reparations, why don't invest in things like infrastructure and support things like the island that we're doing. Right. You know, instead of just giving us money, help us to rebuild and allow us to come back, allow us to take our people back. Yeah. That's the more model I'm looking at more so. You know, because we don't need to be. I don't need to be in the UK. I love the UK, but I don't need to be there. Right. Look at the weather. Look what we have here. You know.
Summer year round.
Summer year round. Exactly.
Summer year round.
And you're with your people.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Listen, there's so many things that changed because where I grew up, my friends I had white friends, black friends, but the stereotype of the black male that was portrayed made me really believe that that's how we were like. So when I came to Sierra Leone, and I'm sending videos of my events. My friends in the UK are saying to me, "Is there trouble at your events?" Right. Because they naturally associate an event with loads of black people in the UK to have trouble. Issues, I'm like, here, no, we're not like that. It's not like that here. Right. When do you see fights in clubs here? None. All black people. Yeah. No one's creating aggro. Yeah. But it's because that narrative of it's constantly affecting us in the West, we actually believe that's what we're like. Yeah. We actually believe. you know.
That's true.
Sorry to change.
No worries. I mean, you gave us some challenges and you gave some advice too, which was going to be the next question. It was going to be, what would you tell people? And I think part of it was, build a network, take some time, and be prepared to struggle. I don't think anyone's ever said that before. Be prepared to struggle, because that's a really important. You need to you need to come with that mindset and be prepared for that.
You need to know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're just gonna give up.
Yeah. I actually know a bunch of people in Ghana, right, who moved during the 2020.
Yeah.
And all they saw was the YouTube videos that were showing everything through rose-colored glasses. 6 months, 12 months. They're gone. Back to where they came from, UK, the US, wherever.
They're gone.
So I really appreciate that statement. I think it's really important. And you said you were prepared to struggle for 5 years.
5 years, minimum.
5 years.
Minimum.
See, yeah.
Minimum. Because I know how long it took me to establish my events business in England. I know how much I struggled. It's just a case of, don't get me wrong, it's frustrating. And at times I almost quit as well.
Yeah.
Literally, I almost quit because I had enough. Because you're here, suffering here.
Yeah.
It's not that you've got the creature comforts in the UK or the US. So it gets to you.
Yeah.
It's naturally to say, you know what, forget this. I've tried my hardest.
Yeah.
I'm gone. But be prepared to, and forget the YouTube videos. Scratch underneath the surface. And this is what I met someone in Ghana, and she's got a diaspora network she's trying to create in Ghana where it helps people that want to invest and do things. I want to try and create it for the whole of Africa or Sierra Leone.
Right.
Because really, you need to know what you're getting into.
Yes.
A lot of people do not know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
And when reality hits home, that's when they're like, no, I'm going.
Yeah.
You see all the videos, how you can do this. Business in Africa is not easy. Sierra Leone is, I think, 160 something or 150 something out of 168 countries that are the ease of doing business.
Right. Right.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
So be prepared.
Yeah.
And listen, don't get me wrong, it'll be worth it. Everything is worth it, but just be prepared of what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And this is just the level we're at. We've got so much potential. When I look at Africa, there's so much potential, but it's time to turn that potential into reality.
Absolutely.
We can't keep on saying it's potential. So we have a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Sierra Leone's amazing. I've been to Ghana as well. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Our continent needs people from the diaspora to come back.
Yes.
A lot of them
100%.
still don't want to.
Yeah. And I think, you mentioned it in passion. I don't know if you said it in the video or we talked about it before, but knowing that you had 5 years to get through it and it was going to be tough and you wanted to quit, you had the passion that made you go through, right? Yeah. And I think that's another piece of advice that you had given is like, just make sure you have the passion. I think that's super important because, nothing with having comes easy.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need to be passionate about it to be able to get through some of those hurdles. Not even hurdles, they're brick walls. So you have to scale the brick walls and break down those brick walls. There are walls in your way that are gonna impede your progress, and I think passion is really important. So,
and try and find reliable partners as well.
Okay, that's a good
because it's very important, especially if you have so the problem is I'm in a unique position because I've been self-employed, I had a business my whole life, so I could travel.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have the luxury of time that I have. So they can only spend a certain amount of time back and forth.
Right.
So it's good to try and find reliable partners, or if you can take a prolonged period of time off to really come and do some research before you realize what you're getting into.
Right.
Because there's certain opportunities here. For example, like I said to you, my expertise, or where I say I excel in more and have my network, is high-end luxury hospitality.
Right.
But maybe it's not in Sierra Leone for me to make a big splash things I want to do.
Right.
So you have to really come and understand the market, what you're getting into, because there's certain businesses that might not be suited for Sierra Leone, might be suited for other African countries.
Right.
So just come here.
Okay.
But there's opportunities here. Loads of opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the issue of infrastructure means there are more opportunities, but it also means that because it's so difficult, there's less competition.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's like you have those challenges, but those are also opportunities at the same time. They're both, right?
Look at what you said about when you came here and realized that maybe there wasn't enough for your industry here.
Yeah.
So you advertising. So realistically, your first point of call was Sierra Leone, but then you realized maybe it's not. When you went to Ghana, you saw they're more established there.
Absolutely.
So you have to really know what you're getting into as well, and do your DNA.
Oh yeah, African ancestry.
African ancestry.
Yeah, because then you can get your citizenship.
Yeah, citizenship. Right? And just kind of try and find out where you come from, and it's very good to visit certain countries that your DNA.
That's a good point. Yeah. So like Sierra Leone in particular, right? If you have Sierra Leonean heritage, you can get your citizenship here. 100 people just did it over the last month. Who are Black Americans, did their African ancestry, came and got their citizenship. Yeah. But even if other countries don't offer it. If you know that your lineage goes back to there, it might be good to go there and visit it. Just know where you come from.
Exactly.
We were having this conversation about being in the States, and a lot of Black Americans, part of their issue is not having a home. Where do I come from, right? My family history, I only know it's starting from being in the South, really mostly from slavery.
Yeah.
But like, I think once you have that connection to a homeland, it really does change things for you.
Changes everything. It's very important spiritually as well to know where you're from.
Yeah, I think we both had a similar experience, right? Like I had an experience coming to Sierra Leone for the first time, and that really sparked change in my life.
Exactly.
And you said the same thing happened to you, right?
I felt like when I landed off the plane, I felt like a connection that I've never felt. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
This was my home.
Yep.
And unfortunately, a lot of African Americans,
they don't have that.
They don't have that at all.
Yeah.
So even if it's at least, even if you don't want to come and set up a business, just come to Africa, try and trace your lineage, and find out where you're from, and just go and visit for a week or so. At least you have that kind of connection.
Agreed, 100%. This has been a great conversation, and we had a really good conversation before we started. They were pumping some water into the tanks that were here, so it was too loud to do the interview. So we had a really good conversation for about 30 minutes beforehand. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to leave the people with before we close this thing out?
Not really, no. I think just like, I do think it's very important, like I said, for African Americans to try and visit Africa.
Yes.
You know, I think we have a duty to help build our continent.
Yes.
You know, and we are the last emerging continent in the world.
Yeah.
So many opportunities here. So if you're entrepreneurial and want to achieve really good success, like Akon said, be on the Fortune 500 company in 15 years.
Yeah.
Opportunities now here. Africa's about to explode.
Yes.
And everyone's fucking with us now because they ain't got a choice.
Exactly. Exactly.
They ain't got a choice.
Yep.
So as I went to the US Africa Summit last week, you know, everyone's looking at Africa. You know,
100%.
So in the next 15, 20 years, this place is going to explode. And we're biggest, forget the maps. We're bigger than China, we can fit China, Europe, forget the maps.
Yeah, most of Europe and Asia can fit in Africa. Like if you tried to put it all in together. Russia, by the way, is square footage smaller than the width of Africa. But if you look at it on the map, it looks like it's double the size.
Exactly.
So just know that it's vast. The opportunities are vast. And it's getting in at the ground floor, right?
Exactly.
And people talk about ground floor opportunities all the time, and the continent of Africa really and truly is that.
Yeah, it is.
So on that note, where can people find you and your businesses online?
Okay, my Insta, Siaka Multiple, Ballin Parties, Ballin Freetown, Ballin Accra. So they're all on the socials.
Okay.
You know, my website for my island project should be coming up next month or so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called company. Our company is called Chevro Alliance Partners.
Okay.
So that will come up soon, and that's basically it, really.
Nice. So that'll all be in the description below. So if you want to contact Siaka, you can find him on social media. It'll be there. Know more about the Ballin Parties. If you want to see more footage from these parties to get some more context.
Yeah, I'll share some.
Yeah, he's gonna share some with me. I'm gonna make sure that I splice them into this video so you'll be able to see that. But also, if you want to go out and check more of it, just go on the socials below. Trust me, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so with that, guys, thanks for watching. If you know anybody who's planning to move here, especially someone coming from the UK, people who are in entertainment, or people who just want to invest, or even just think about coming here and trying to figure out what they want to do, share this video with them. If you have any questions for Siaka that I didn't ask, put them in the comments below. And of course, make sure you subscribe. 70% of you guys watch these videos and don't subscribe. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. And with that, thanks for watching, guys. See you all in the next video.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, guys. So what did you guys think about this conversation with Siaka Stevens? What did you think about the idea to diversify the House of Africa? What did you think about the Ballin Parties, having the over 30, the Africana, the original spray party? What do you think about the decision to have those different elements of those businesses? And then, of course, I want to hear your thoughts about what he's doing with Idris Elba and working on all the projects that he's doing there. I think all of that stuff was interesting to me, but I want to hear from you guys. So put it in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. And of course, share this with anybody who's planning to come to Ghana at all, because there's some Ballin Parties in December and in April that he throws. And these are amazing events. If you haven't been, you gotta go. But with that, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. See you guys on the next video. All right, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, like, comment, and share it with your friends. All right, see you on the next video.